welcome to the Woolly Ferret podcast, episode 6. My name is Lisa and I'm coming to you from Derbyshire in England. Welcome to my podcast. This podcast is about knitting, sewing, crochet and crafty endeavours, and a few book reviews thrown in as well. So I know it's been a while since my last podcast, and for that I apologise. Unfortunately, my mental health deteriorated quite significantly after my last podcast. I had a very bad episode of depression and it's taken some time to get out of that. But I'm happy to say that seems to have passed now. I am prone to depression. People who followed me for a while on Instagram will know that, and on here I don't shy away from talking about that. Yeah, I got some help, went to the doctors, got some therapy, medication, and I'm back on track. So it's great to be back and chatting with you all. Those eagle-eyed of you will notice that the background doesn't look very crafty at all, and my lovely craft desk is gone, and there's a dartboard up there and things that don't belong to me. These are my husband's things here, and that's because we had a look at the loft. The loft is supposed to be an area for both my husband and I, and he really desperately wanted a dartboard, and the only place it really could go is here. And I very cheekily stole that spot for my desk and decided I was having a craft area down here, which meant he really couldn't have an area that he would use at all. So we had a compromise and we've rejigged, and now I will be at the other end of the loft. Now, when I'd previously been filming, that area of the loft was piled high with boxes and junk, and I have cleared it out, but it is no way finished. So what I thought was, to get me back into the podcasting and whatnot, I would show you around the state of the loft now, my new area that I will be setting up as my craft area, and then we could perhaps see how it develops as we go along. A lot of work has been done to it, and when you see the film you think, oh my goodness, what a mess, and really doesn't look like I've done anything. But I promise you it was in a state of junkness, so there really is a difference, but it's still a mess, and I'm not going to clean it up before I show you, because I just want to keep it real, show you what it looks like now, and then as it develops you'll be able to see the difference, and hopefully you won't have this in the background. Next time I film, I'll film facing the other way and you will have something a little bit more crafty in the background. Oh, I forgot to say where you can find me. You can find me on the interwebs at Ravelry. There's a Woolly Ferret group on Ravelry, but it's not very active since I've been ill, and I'll try and resurrect that. And I also have an email, which is woollyferretpodcast@gmail.com. Important that you put the podcast at the end, because there is somebody else with Woolly Ferret at Gmail account, so make sure it's Woolly Ferret Podcast. And then on Instagram, I've changed my Instagram name from Lisa Saxton to Woolly Ferret, so that it's just easier to find me in all those places. Oh, sorry, I'm wobbling the camera there. I do apologise. There's a little hand comes up on my camera like this saying you're wobbling. I managed on a day out to drop my camera on the ground. It's my pride and joy, my camera. I love it. I saved so hard for it, and I dropped it and I've smashed the little screen. A little screen pops up that I'm looking at now. Luckily the smash is in the corner, which you can't see, so I don't know why I'm pointing at it, but the smash is in the corner, and I'm hoping I can get that fixed. But thank goodness the camera still works. I didn't smash or damage the lens, so we're all good on that front. So yeah, let's crack on. I don't have a lot to show you, in all honesty. My crafting hasn't been great when I was poorly. I really lost interest in everything, including reading, and that suggests to me that I was really low, because normally I can at least read. But I have done some, and I had done a little bit before I really went downhill. So I will show you the odd thing, and then around my craft room, and we'll just have a little episode this month, if that's okay with you. Now, the first thing I want to do is draw the giveaway that I had mentioned in my last, excuse me, I'm just getting the details of the winner up. My last podcast, because I feel really bad that the poor person that's won has been waiting all this time, but I just really couldn't film until now, so I do apologise. Also, it's really warm up here, so if I start glowing, that's what it is. It's really, really warm, and we do have a window up here, but you can't open it because of the noise outside. There's planes going past every now and then. Not really bad, but the camera on this seems to pick it up. In fact, I might just put the lights on just to see if that makes a difference, because it seems quite dark to me today. So if you bear with me, I'm going to nip down here, switch the light on, and then come back. Okay, I'm not convinced it's made, maybe any difference apart from making me look paler because they're fluorescent lights. But anyway, let's crack on. So if you remember, all that way back about 5 months ago, I'd been talking about what you do to relax, to wind down, to keep your mental health going strong. Clearly I wasn't doing enough, but there were some fabulous entries, and for a lot of people, crafting and reading really was their way of winding down, relaxing, and having time for themselves. So that was really good. So thank you for everybody that put their comments below, some really lovely ideas, and also I had some lovely well wishes from people through Instagram, through the messages below, through email, all that sort of thing. Can I just say thank you so much? They do make a huge difference, even when you're in the thick of it, and if I didn't reply, it was just simply because I was unwell, but absolutely lifted me no end to think that people were thinking about me, sending me their love, their prayers, their positive thoughts, that sort of thing. So thank you so much. Anyway, I just keep digressing. If I'm talking too fast, also I apologise. I'm a little bit nervous, I think, because I haven't filmed for so long. It's really weird. You think you would just jump back in there, so I apologise. Anyway, the prize was this gorgeous Ravelry book, brand new. I have my own copy, and so there was this. There was the lovely bag from White Stuff, and there was this gorgeous, gorgeous skein of yarn from Gamer Crafting. So, without further ado, I've lost my page now. Oh, well, I say without further ado, there is ado, because I got it up, my list on here, because I wrote down the winner on a piece of paper after I did the draw. Left that downstairs, but I know who it was, so I just want to double check that I get their name right. So the winner for that is Chris Cheel. And you did comment 5 months ago, Chris, so I hope you're still around watching my podcast, and that you actually pick up on this when it goes live. But thank you so much. And Chris had put that she enjoys watching me and looks forward to the book section as much in the knit content. Thank you, because I love reading. Her knitting time is good self-care, it's relaxing, and she tries to make time each day to knit a few rows. So thank you so much, Chris. If you could contact me, please, either by email, so that's woollyferretpodcast@gmail.com, or via direct messaging on Instagram. If you're on Instagram, I'm Woolly Ferret on Instagram, or you could direct message me on Ravelry if you're on Ravelry. I'm Lisa Saxton on Ravelry, is my private account on there. So any of those ways, if you could message me and send me your address, that would be fantastic. and I will get you your prize out ASAP because you have been waiting for a while. Okay, so that's that. So I think what I'll do is give you a little tour of the craft room now. So I'm going to attempt to give you a tour of our loft, although this will be slotted in the middle of podcast, it is after the podcast, so there's stuff all over the place, but I will give you a little tour so you can see the space that I'm working with, and hopefully it won't be too wobbly because I don't have one of them gimbal thingies, but let's give it a go and see how we crack on. So this is the end of the loft, and you will see over here we have corner of my husband's junk. That will be his corner to put things on. His beloved dartboard there. Fortunately the cabinet doesn't quite fit because of the you know, the eaves, so we're going to have to chop that back a bit, but you can still play darts on there. And then down here is just storage, and then he'll have storage over here which he needs to sort out what he's having on there, and his CDs, storage under there. We have to sort out, can you see here where this has come away when the plaster's dried out, so we're going to have to patch that up and paint that up. And then there's a TV here where we can have a games machine on here eventually, one of his posters. And then this is where I've been sat when I'm filming, so this is where I was sat, and obviously you had that in the background. And then this is all the podcast paraphernalia, and this box is here is where I had the camera on, shopping bag, which is just, and now you will see this is a mess, so I apologise. Well, I don't apologise because I did say it was going to be a mess, but hopefully we will improve things. So over this side, if I just give you a view of the loft, so that's the rest of the loft from the chair where I was podcasting from. Can you see it's a mess? Anyway, over this side is my lovely table, covered in stuff. I know, it is a disgrace. We've still been finishing off, but yeah, this is where my table will be. This is my dummy that needs to go on its stand here, and oh, some of my, just excuse me a minute while I put my cards up. This is a trolley that I got. Well, it's not a trolley, but I'm going to turn it into a trolley. I'm going to put some wheels on the floor, on the bottom. So this is stand that I got for £5 from the charity shop, and I'm going to paint that up and then make it look nice. This is my lovely scarf from Emma, which at the moment it's far too hot to wear, so it's up here at the moment. And these here that got knocked down when I had the window open, the wind blew, are some lovely cards that I've got from people. And then, so this will be all nice, hopefully painted up and sort of made to look nice. And then over here we have, well, that's just junk. That's, well, not junk, it's supposed to be sheets and stuff where I keep things. It's a mess. Anyway, on this wall here, this lovely white wall, I plan to put my artwork, my favourite artwork, on there. So that will have some pictures on, and then my books will be tidied up and put into some sort of order on here. So they've just been put in any state at the moment. There's my spinning wheel. This box will go. There's a Hoover, which will probably have to stay, unfortunately. And so you can get the view now from this end of the loft. You can see it goes down there. Hoover, this is a dehumidifier that needs to go somewhere. Then I've got some drawers for some storage, and these are just old clothes that have to be up here. And we've got a window here that lets huge amount of light in and is lovely when it's open, but unfortunately have to have it closed for podcasting because it's too noisy. And then we're back to where we started. So yeah, it's not a massive space, but it is I think a decent space, and a lot more, I know, than a lot of people have. That's my desk. Drawers under my desk as well. So there will be plenty of storage space. So what we need to do is, it needs a another coat of paint on it, and once that's done we need carpet, and once we've carpeted and done one more coat of paint, I'm just looking at the ceiling, I don't know why, then I can really start organising my stuff. I'm a bit reluctant to do that now because everything will have to come out for the carpet to go in, and so if I get nice and organised I'll be reluctant to get carpet because I won't want to move my stuff. So yeah, that is our loft and my crafty area. So I hope you enjoyed the tour of this very messy, unfinished space. Okay, so hopefully I've managed to give you a tour around the craft room, and you will see it in a very untidy state. Hopefully that will improve going forward. Yeah, we're getting there, slowly but surely. Anyway, let's move on to crafting. So first thing I'm going to talk about is crochet. Okay, so the next thing I want to show you is something I did make before I got ill. Now, there is a caveat before I show you this, is that my animals, so one of the dogs and the cat, have taken a particularly special liking to this project. It's a pillow, and I'm sorry, I'm looking down at it, that's bad form, isn't it? Yeah, and it has been battered and clawed and scratched at and loved to death by my animals, so it looks incredibly tatty now, but the pattern is so lovely I wanted to show it to you. It's crochet. It looks like knit, but it's actually crochet. So please excuse the absolutely horrendous state of it in advance, but this is it. Two cats. It's called the Perfect Love Pillow by Varna J Creations. Isn't it gorgeous? I've done it in ginger because of my cat is Ginger, the ginger beast, who absolutely adores this pillow, but it is scratched and loved. But yes, so you can buy this pattern on Etsy. It's called the Perfect Love Pillow, and I will put the details up here so you can see the spelling. It's on Etsy and it's by Varna J Creations, and this is what it looks like. That's her. I mean, I love the colour she's done it. I mean, look at that. But I wanted to do it for ginger, but I love this red colour. Really easy, lovely crochet pattern. It creates like a knit stitch, the stitch that you do, which I've never done before in crochet. But it's great. Comes out really, really nice. And the wool that I used is somewhere on my Instagram account, so I'll have a look at that quickly, because as I said, so it's Drops Alaska Aran weight that I've used, the wool that I used. It was from Wool Warehouse, just a cheapish yarn. It wasn't very expensive at all. I can't remember how much it was, in all honesty, and I can't remember the colours because I can't find what on earth I've done with the ball bands, which I usually keep for podcasting so I can tell you, but it was so long ago that I have no idea what I've done with them. But you could do your own colours, and it's really, really lovely. The only thing I would say is, if you are doing it yourself, when I knit, if I'm taking yarn across so say here I've got this gold that I've taken across here, I would catch it behind the stitches in my knitting, and unfortunately I don't know if you can see, it creates a bit of a ridge if you do it on this. So don't catch your yarn behind your stitches, because you're not going to see the back of this anyway because it's a pillow. So that would be my advice, is don't catch your yarn. So I absolutely love that. I might keep it up here in the loft to stop it getting destroyed any further by the animals. Crazy crew. So yes, that's about it for knitting and crochet, that type of thing. But I have done a bit of sewing and sort of other crafting. So I think we'll go on and have a look at that. Okay, so the next thing I was going to talk about is a little bit of embroidery that I've done, but also a bit of crafting stroke embroidery, sewing. Yeah, anyway, so I don't know how many of you are familiar with a company called HelloFresh. I'm not promoting them, it's just it's basically a food delivery service that send you all you need to make a recipe. Anyway, that's by the by. But when they send you their package, it's packed in ice because there's fresh food in it, and you get this strange stuff around your freezer stuff. I think it's some sort of synthetic. They are quite environmentally conscious, so I'm assuming it's something that can be I don't know if it's wool. I don't think it's wool. It doesn't feel like wool. I don't know what it is, but this wadding anyway. You get this stuff in the middle of it. I should have looked it up really, but you know, there you go. And you get a piece about that big, if you can see that, in each of your packaging, and I'm reluctant to throw it in the bin. I'm pretty sure they say it can be recycled. If I get time before I edit, sorry I keep wobbling the camera, if I get time before I edit, I'll have a look and try and find out what it is. But anyway, I'm reluctant to throw it in the bin, and I'm trying to find different uses for it. So I'm going to make a cat bed out of one at some point for the ginger beast. But the other thing I've decided to make was this. So this is a pin holder for my pin collection. As you can see, I don't have very many, but nonetheless I wanted somewhere to store them. So what I've basically done is, between two layers of this fabric, I've cut out a circle of this squishy stuff and wedged it between two layers of fabric, and then caught the edges in one of those wooden embroidery hoops that you get you know, for cross stitching or embroidery. They're really quite cheap from most, sorry I don't know why I'm tapping it, craft stores. And then I painted that a purpley colour with a little tester pot from hardware store, from B&Q. You know, you can get little paint tester pots. Dulux do nice ones with little rollers on, so it makes it really easy to paint this. So I've just got a really light lavender, painted that, and And then I've done a little bit of embroidery. I don't think it's showing up very well on here. I'm not bad at cross stitch, but freehand embroidery, rubbish. It turns out I'm rubbish at it. So you'll have to excuse my embroidery because the skills aren't there, but it was fun doing, and I like the outcome anyway. So I'm trying to close up to you. So hopefully the embroidery is showing up there. And then I've sort of stitched around the edge as well. So it makes a lovely squishy base to stick my pins on, and I think it looks pretty as well. And it uses up, you know, stuff that probably would go to waste anyway. So yeah, I quite like it. The one thing that I will say is, if you want to give this a go, you could just use normal wadding, you know, and it might be better. This is really thick stuff, and I have found that some of my pins, it was a little bit too thick for the ones with plastic backings. I'm going to turn this around. Don't be horrified at the absolute mess that my embroidery is on the back, because I know technically embroidery is supposed to be neat and tidy on the back, and quite frankly mine is not. But I'm going to turn this around and you'll see what I mean. Look at this state. Never mind, you know, it is what it is. But these plastic back ones, they kept popping off when on this. So what I had to do is re-press the pin into the back, into a new hole, sort of create a new hole. So just press the pin into the rubbery bit rather than the hole that was already there, and then now they're fine. Otherwise they're a bit loose. The metal ones, no problem, because they have little wings that you squeeze, and they were fine. So yes, my pins are, this one was from So Sweet Violet, Jules from So Sweet Violet. She had a selection of pins that didn't quite come out the colour that she wanted when she had them delivered, so she sold them up to raise money for charity. So that was one of those pins, and this is So Sweet Violet's emblem. This beautiful lady knitting here, can you see that? That's from Gigi Made It. I absolutely love that pin there. This one's from Sam Draws Things and Die Candy collaboration, and it's mental health awareness pin. So it says, oh, it's upside down, so I best turn it around. Oh, it really is upside down. It fell off on the way up. Just excuse me a minute. I'm going to put it the right way up. I dropped it coming up the loft ladder earlier and it fell off. There we are. So it says drop the stitch, the stigma, not the stitch. Then we have this beautiful little pin from Starry Eyes Alley, and then we have Sinister Cat pin and Betsy Makes pin. Sorry, I'm talking behind a thing. I don't like to do that. So Betsy Makes, Starry Eyes Alley, Sinister Cats. Yeah. So that is my new pin thing, which hopefully will go up somewhere in my craft room. And then the other thing is something I plan to do, but I haven't started yet, which is this cross stitch kit. From Hobbycraft. It's a little blue ticked cross stitch kit. Now, I've had one of these kits before. You can get these, I don't know if they still do them, but it comes with everything you need, the floss, the hoop, the pattern, and they were about £6 in Hobbycraft. And I'm sure a lot of hobby stores have these kits, or you can get kits online. But I had one that was a bee. I'll show you the finished. So in the kit you got the floss for this bee, and the hoop and the Ada, and then I just used the book to sort of create my own flowers. I've got a few cross-stitch books where I've just merged a few different patterns and just got some ideas from them, and just created the flowers because I thought it just looked a bit bare with just the bee in the middle, and I wanted to just add the flowers in, so I did that. So to go with that bee, I'm going to do the blue tits. I think they'll go nice together, and I don't know, I'll probably put something around the blue tit one as well, of my own sort of thoughts or design or whatever you want to call it for that. So yeah, so from a crafting point of view, things I have made, that's it. But I did want to discuss with you a little challenge that I've set myself, and I thought if I announce it on here it might make me stick to it. So again, I've left things over there. I am so unorganized, so just bear with me and I will fetch what I need for the next bit. Okay, so excuse the wobbly table, I think it's going to wobble. Oh. I'm just going to have a quick drink. I'm drinking out of my new Emma Bridgewater mug of hearts today, which I got in the most recent sale, 50% off sale. So half price mug. I got 4, all with a similar colour scheme but different patterns. So I've got sweet peas, I can't remember what the other 2 are. But yeah, but this has got a cold drink in it because it's far too hot up here to be drinking tea at the moment. It's really sweet, it's got little love hearts. So yes, just excuse me, we'll have a quick drink. Okay, so I have a little bit of an issue with spending, especially when I'm low. Or just coming out of a bad patch of depression. I tend to spend far too much on things that I don't need, and it just piles up and up and up and up. So to get me back on track when I'm feeling better, I've had this book for years and years and years and years. It's this. How I Lived a Year on Just £1 a Day by Kath Kelly. Now this came out, I think, in the 90s, I want to say. No, 2008. Oh gosh, that's still a long time ago, isn't it? Yeah, time flies. Anyway, came out in 2008, so it is a bit dated now. I have to admit, even when I read it, some of the references that she makes are quite dated, but the gist of the book is the same. So basically, Kath, this is true story, how Kath decided she wanted to save money for her brother's wedding, to buy him a gift, and she decided to live on £1 a day. Now that excluded her rent, utilities, and healthcare. Those things were already paid for, but for clothes, going out, food shopping, holidays, anything else, £1 a day is all she had. She couldn't get into debt, so she couldn't borrow £1 from the next day, but she could save £1 up from the day before. Really interesting book because it just makes you think about your spending habits, or makes me think about my spending habits and why I'm buying things. I also read another book which I gave away on Instagram a while ago, but I can't remember what it was called now. I'll try and find it quickly for you if I can. It's still on my Instagram account, unless I took it off when I gave it away. Oh no, so this one is another one I read. I'm hoping you can see that. That was The Year of Less. Kate Flanders. How she stopped shopping, gave away her belongings, and discovered life is worth more than anything you can buy in a store. So I read that one, but I gave that one away. But this one I always keep. Just go back to it just to remind me that actually you can actually live quite nicely without spending loads of money. And then I was looking at my craft room when I've been sorting stuff out and realising how much stuff I have. And I know I've mentioned it before on all my other podcasts, but I really plan to set myself a challenge. So my plan is from today, which is Monday the 29th of July, this podcast will probably come out a week later because it takes me a while to edit. But from today, I am going to set myself a challenge to not spend any money on crafting materials at all. Not wool, not books relating to craft, not fabric, anything at all, and use what I have or swap with other people. It sounds really awful now I've said it out loud, but that's my plan. I have so much stuff that needs using, and I just want to use it. And I could do with stop spending. I really could do with saving some money. And I thought, well, you know, I have quite a few people that I chat with on Instagram and on here. And if I need something, I've got excess of a lot of things, so I could perhaps put a call out and say, would anybody like to swap me for perhaps one of my bags or some wool that I've got, you know, if I need something else. So from today, 29th of July, my plan is not to buy for 12 months, a whole year, up till 28th of July 2020, anything craft related. I have one caveat for that. So it will be after today. I will be buying cotton today. I don't have any cotton. I have one reel of white cotton for sewing, and I have a lot of fabric, so if I'm going to sew I will need cotton. My plan is to buy cotton today, only cotton, nothing else, just cotton, in a few different, you know, quite white mostly, just a few reels of white cotton and maybe a couple of other colours, and then that's it. I do have a subscription to Simply Crochet magazine, which I think runs out this year sometime, so I'm not going to renew that, but obviously I'll keep that running. And I do have at the moment Kindle Unlimited subscription that was half price, that runs out also some point this year, so I can read books on that if I'm really desperate. There's the library. I mean, you know, I have a book galore, as I've mentioned before, so that's my plan. So I will update you every month on my progress, or every time I podcast. It might not be monthly. I will try and do monthly podcasts, but you know, life often gets in the way, so I don't want to set myself up for failure. So yeah, that's my plan. That's my challenge for the year ahead. Let's see if I'm successful. Okay, so until next time, thank you so much for watching, and hopefully we will chat again soon. Bye.